Hey everybody, Will Smith here with SBE. Hope you're doing incredibly well today. What we're going to do today is talk about one of the coolest things that we've ever figured out, and that's the math of your business. We call it current business opportunity. What's possible for you in your business without running more calls or hiring more people? So you don't got to spend any more on marketing or advertising, and you don't got to go hire anybody else. What could you do with the current call volume that you have, current business opportunity? This is math you can do every day, every week, every month, and it tells you exactly where the problems are in your business, where you ought to be focused. Let's jump right in. By the way, this is going to be a very brief overview of this spreadsheet. I wanted you to have a copy of it so you can start looking at the math. Every week I do a live training on several different topics, but on this one it's coming up. Look for it. It's called taking quiet market share, I believe is what we're calling it. So taking quiet market share includes current business opportunity because of market share is within the math that we're about to look at. Anyway, I'm going to be real brief. Over here there's an example, CBO example, current business opportunity example. And then this is yours. So I'm going to walk you through. These are the things you need to know to fill this out. Step one is look for the yellow stuff. That's where your numbers go. All right. Up here, how much service business revenue did you do all of last year or last 12 months? In this particular case, I'm going to say this contractor did $174,274. Let me zoom in on that for the older people like me. And you did it on 1,000 calls. And this is very common. What we're looking at right here is very common. That's an average service ticket of $174, which isn't great. And you've got one service truck. So your average revenue per truck is 174. Average calls per truck is 174. If you happen to have two technicians, it just changes your average revenue per truck and your calls per truck. But I'm going to leave it at one. One tech running 4 calls a day all year long is 1,000 calls. That's why I like that. One of the most common answers to the question of how many maintenance agreements do you have is 50. A lot of times when I meet somebody, they'll go, yeah, we just started doing maintenance agreements. I'm like, okay, how long you been in business? About 20 years. Everybody just got started, but you got 50. Like that's a very common number. The close rate in that case is 5%. So if that's you, don't feel bad. It's very common. But what I want you to know, if you don't do anything else, you don't raise your prices, you don't run more calls with exactly the same number of calls. If all you do is fix your close rate on maintenance, get it up to 40%. That's the minimum standard. You will sell 400 agreements or an additional 350. I put 237 because that's kind of a standard agreement today. But that 350 times 237 is an additional $82,950. If all you did was get good at selling maintenance agreements, you would generate another 80 grand in your business. That would bring your total service revenue up to 257 and your average ticket to 257. Today, in today's world, we'd like to see that average ticket a lot closer to 350. But if all you did was fix maintenance, well, then that's what would happen. Let's keep going. Down here, replacement business. Some of your replacements come through service. Some of your replacements come through sales. I don't care if your technician sells it or if he turns a lead over. There's a certain percentage of the calls your technician runs that are over 10 years old. If you're in a heat pump market, it's typically about 35%. If you're in a furnace market, it's typically over 50%. I'm going to say 35%. So it's kind of low realistic numbers. Also, a very common number that we see when people first come to us is something below 6, 5, 4, 3% of those 350 10-year-old plus systems turning into sales. Whether you turned a lead over and it turned into a sale or the technician sold it themselves, 3 to 6% is very, very common. So that puts you at 126,000 in revenue from your service department. Again, whether the tech sold it or he turned a lead over and the sales guy sold it. Down here, 50 estimates run with a 50% close rate, 25 jobs sold, 300,000. If I'm looking at a $600,000 contractor These are very common numbers. So if you're in that less than a million range and you're around 600,000, this looks familiar to you. Well, you're just like everybody else. All right. On the other side, the opportunity then is we already did the service opportunity. Just fix your maintenance agreements and you increase your average ticket quite a bit. Increase your revenue by 82 grand. Down here, we want that close rate to be a minimum of 15%. So of those 350 10-year-old plus systems that you see, we call them opportunities, a minimum of 15%. If you're really good at this, about 20% will close. But at 15%, that's 53 jobs. The average ticket is still 12 grand. We're not going to change that at all. And 53 times 12,000 is 630,000. If all you did was fix your close rate on opportunities, you would increase your revenue by $500,000. Down here on replacements, we're not going to change anything. So if you increase by 82,000 here and 500,000 here, it's a total of $586,000 increase, almost doubling your business with exactly the same number of calls, with exactly the same number of people. You didn't have to spend more on marketing. You didn't have to hire new people. The only challenge that you might have is you got to come up with a way to do 40 something more installs. And that is a very common problem when people start working with us, is they do have to get better at doing a higher volume of installs. But that is a good problem to have. Okay, how many total calls did you run in the last 12 months? And how much revenue through service, total service calls, did you generate? Total service business revenue, total number of calls, that will give you your average ticket. Put in your number of trucks and your total number of agreements, and it'll populate this deal out. Leave 40% unless you're better. But 40% close rate is the minimum close rate that I'm going to let you have. And then put in what you sell maintenance agreements for, and that will give you your opportunity by just fixing maintenance agreements. We're not even fixing IAQ or duct cleaning or any of the other things you can do on a service call. We're just fixing that one thing. We're not even raising your prices. Okay. Come down here. And how many jobs did you sell through service? Just manipulate that close rate until you find the number of jobs that you generated through service, your average ticket. It'll give you your total replacements through service. And then put it in an average ticket that you'd like to have, and that'll give you your current business opportunity through replacements and service. And then replacements through sales is the easiest thing in the world. How many leads are you getting? What percentage of them close? What's your average ticket? That'll tell you everything you need to know. But you'll notice something is the real opportunity in your business, 90% of the time, is maintenance agreement sales. Are you good at selling maintenance? Are you good at running maintenance, renewing maintenance? Are you good at making money on maintenance calls? And are you good at capturing these 10-year-old plus customers with maintenance and converting a certain percentage of them into either replacement leads or replacement sales? And that's what we like to help you with. I hope you found this useful. Thank you for spending time with us. Good luck. God bless. Take care.